Thanks for joining us on Behind the Spotlight. I am so excited to have a group of Kansas City natives here tonight. Various Blonde, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here, and you're going to kick it off with a song from your newest album, which is called All Bases Covered.
Yep, the title track.
And that is also the name of the album. All right, take it away.
All right. Coming in on Sunday. No, I may not be here come Monday. Just living my life, floating from paycheck to paycheck, the paycheck, break check. Got me like.
And that was All Bases Covered by Various Blonde, and I'm joined here with Joshua Allen.
How are you?
I'm doing so well. I really dig your sound. Tell me a little bit more about where you got your style, your influences.
It's kind of a hodgepodge, honestly. It can kind of get me in trouble sometimes because I like so much stuff, but I've been really trying to formulate my own sound by using all the influences that I've liked, because through life I've just really enjoyed music as a whole, and in that, you like soul, R&B, and then at some point, I was exposed to punk rock and hard rock, and so the spectrum's really broad. I even love jazz, so there's an element of yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's there's an element of everything in there.
What are the few, if you could name a few artists that have been the most influential to you, who would you?
Over time, I would say, cliche, but Jimi Hendrix, just because his free spirit, and always, trying to create more and just be yourself and do you, ultimately makes you shine, And, Prince, he's, God rest his soul, he was a god and was just so amazing. But like in modern times, I like a lot of stuff right now, like Anderson .Paak, he's like coming out, really digging on Kendrick and like all that really like modern hip hop that's like bringing like the real boom bap like style of hip hop that like is what I grew up on, like the bangers like, Tupac and Biggie like always had like, hard hitting beats and Jay-Z. So
yeah, and that strong bass line too.
Yeah.
I really like it. So tell us a little bit more about All Bases Covered. Is it out now? Where can people find it?
You can find it on Spotify if you want to stream, iTunes, and a website called Bandcamp. If you go to our website, variousblonde.com, there's kind of like tabs at the top, so you can find, our videos, you can find our tour dates, you can find our music if you want to download it, or if you want to actually purchase the vinyl record, you can do that too. There's record stores around town that are really supportive. Mills, Josie, Record with Merit, like
literally everywhere.
trying to do what we got to do, That's how you got to be these days.
I listened to All Bases Covered, and I noticed there's so many different feels to each song.
Yeah.
Like Sweet Thing. Is that the right?
You might be thinking of Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth. It's like it's so poppy and fun, and then you hear All Bases Covered, the title track, and it's so much heavier. I mean, what's the process when you're setting out to create a song? Are you like, okay, this one's gonna be a pop song, and this
Not
one's,
really. I mean, I guess kind of sometimes I do, but it's like, I guess when you're capable of doing like a certain amount of things, you like can just pick from which ones you want to do that day, or if you want to write a song that transitions into another song, you can keep it together, or you can like, make it stop on a dime and just change up the feel. I mean, the last record that we did with Ike Owens, rest his soul too. He played with Mars Volta and the Jack White's group, and that's like more of a psychedelic, like super groovy record, and it's like on this record we transitioned to just more like to the point, just like just like you immediately get the message. But I don't know, sometimes it's rock and sometimes it's just like I want to get that funk groove in there, but then sometimes you want to wail out too.
Well, it's fun because, at the end of the day, it is music and it's your medium and it's whatever you want it to be.
Right, and two of my favorite artists like Michael Jackson and Prince, like Bad was a highly influenced rock pop record, like he had like I think it was Steve Stevens, who's like, I think he played with like maybe Bon Jovi, I'm not exactly sure on that, but he had a rock band for that, Prince and the Revolution, that's rock music, but it still has like that soul to it and, adds the funk element. And I think that currently that's the part of me that I'm most in touch with is, because I have all my roots, going back to church and just like seeing my parents like original like record collection with like Stevie and all that stuff. That was normal for me. So when I like got into like emo music or hard rock music, it was like something that I'd never heard, but I couldn't deny that it was good. So I like wanted to be a part of it.
I mean, listening to you name all these influences, like I can hear a little bit of it.
I used to go to the CD store when I was a kid, and like the dude at the counter would always be like, "What are you into, man?" It's like, you got a Dre record,
what are you doing?
You got...
Yeah, all right. Well, we're gonna get more into some of your influences. We'll be right back with more Behind the Spotlight after this. Welcome back to Behind the Spotlight. I'm here with Joshua Allen from Various Blonde. And, we were talking about some of your favorite influences, some of your Kansas City roots. What has been one of your favorite places to perform here in KC?
Definitely the new Record Bar.
Yeah? Is it good?
It's awesome. It's so cool.
I need to check it out still.
Great sound, just great atmosphere, amazing bathrooms.
Finally,
music
some clean
that's never a signature of most music venues, and you're just like, oh.
No.
I'm actually not rushing out of here. Like,
Right. They've got all the weird carvings, strange things
Yeah.
that people, yeah. Tell me about some of your goals as a band. I mean, I know currently you guys, you perform a lot. You also still work part-time, full-time, some of you?
Part-time currently, yeah.
So, I mean, what would it take for you to take the plunge and go full-time as a band?
I mean, in a way, we kind of are
Yeah.
like, as full-time as we can be with like our current schedules, you know, like and restrictions that we have to work
Yeah.
around, you know. Like, I guess since we record the record, I could get different musicians to play with me out on the road because I can be gone a lot, but I like my bandmates a lot and I want it to be like us. So, you know, I am willing to work around their schedules and their private lives to make what we do happen because, I mean, the internet is like such a good platform for you to have, you know, and a lot of like well-known artists right now are like making a name for themselves just like based off like having a good presence on YouTube, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I hate to say the M word, but money really makes it easy. I think money keeps your wife from being mad at you, you know, when you're actually touring, you know, the country and like, you
When
know,
you're on the
she's not
road.
just home working.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that kind of thing, it's like, you know, just making it work. So if you get to that point where you can like, you know, quit your job and play music or, you know, not have to work so much and like, you know, you can be out on the road, that's like, you know.
So you got to reach a certain level before you feel secure doing
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we've
Yeah.
done some DIY tours, you know, we've done a
Yeah.
West Coast tour and like a lot of shows around the Midwest, but it's always out of pocket for us. So, you know, out of pocket between, you know, what you make at a show, which can either be awesome if you already have a guarantee, but if it's a place you've never been,
Yeah.
they usually, you know,
You never
want
know.
to pay you an exposure, which doesn't pay anybody's
Oh,
bills, but
oh, yeah.
you know, it helps, you know.
Sure.
But you know, paying your dues and finding a way
Yeah.
to get, you know, what you believe in out there is like it's a real challenge, you know.
Of course. And speaking of making a name, tell us about the name Various Blonde.
The name Various Blonde, it's kind of a reference to, you know, I think that like just like people give special treatment to blondes and like that kind of whole thing, and it's like, you know, you can't have like a superhero that's like, you know, black, you know, it's got to be like, oh, well, we're gonna typecast this black guy as the homeless musician, and then the blonde guy's always got to be the hero, you know,
the
like
hero.
it's nothing to shame them, but if like, you know, everybody just ended up being a blonde person, there would be no diversity, and we'd just be like various blonde people with like all the like, you know, no real like distinctions about you, and you know, you're gonna end up in a world where like that's the level of acceptance, you know, like we all
Yeah, I
have
think
that
that was a
uniqueness,
goal
you know,
at one
like,
point.
it
Yeah.
was, you know, and like
Very
that's
scary to
like,
think about.
not cool, you know. We should be living in a world now in 2016 that
Yeah.
Superman can be black, Superman can be Mexican, Superman can be a woman, or well, you know what I mean.
Superwoman.
Superwoman, yeah.
You want to live in a world that celebrates diversity, and I'm obviously with you on that. You know, what's been so interesting to me, not to get into politics about this election, though, is how differently people respond to conflict and
Oh, yeah.
change. Within your band, how do you guys manage differences in opinion or creative differences?
Well, I mean, a lot of the songwriting is just done by me, and I work with a producer. So I bring the material to them and have them play it, and then we try to keep the conflicts to a minimum. They all know I don't always deal with pressure well, so I think they can keep their distance sometimes, or like let me have a moment. You know,
Josh needs a moment, guys. Needs a moment.
it happens to everybody, but you know, it's
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
when the breathing stops, you're like, ah.
Yeah. So you guys have kind of picked up on each other's quirks and understand.
Oh
how to
yeah, I
handle
mean
each
we've
other.
known each other, some of us for like 15 plus years. You know,
Wow.
like we've all been around like in the same kind of circle in the music scene, so you know a lot about each other.
Yeah. Well, it's honestly like any other relationship, I think.
Right. Yeah.
You know. Yeah. All right. Well, we have a new segment called Your 4 Favorites that I kind of want to get into with you because
Okay.
people always have such interesting answers. So we ask every artist these 4 questions. Number 1 is your favorite book.
Favorite book? I'm gonna say the Metallica tablature book that I got to learn how to play guitar.
Oh, Oh, so it was a learning book.
I just wanted to say something. As a literary
Something that
work,
nobody else would
a
say.
literary work. I mean, I would say something by like Jack Kerouac, like On the Road.
Yeah.
You know, that's a book that like was very it kind of paralleled my like free spirit that like I like never let leave me. But it reminds me of like what I call like the greatest summer ever, of just like going on road trips with your friends when you've never done that, you know, and like keeping that like spirit and like, you know.
The adventure.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, keeping the adventure alive. I like it. And then, of course, your favorite movie, which I know this is a tough question.
It's
but-
tough. And like this is kind of torture for me because my
Okay.
bandmates know that I hate
didn't know it was
choosing favorites. So it's like, you could like feel my heart rate right
It's
now. I'm
so
just
easy
like,
to torture you.
yeah.
If we needed information out of you, it'd be
I'm
like,
gonna
ask him.
go with like the original Ghostbusters because that was always my sick day movie.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, that was kind of like when you're like, I've seen it a million times, you know, like,
Yeah.
or you like, you know all the words. That was like a good, a sick day movie.
There's
And
something comforting about that.
yeah.
Yeah, I can
and
see
like
that.
they're like action figures that I had and like
Yeah.
had like I watched the cartoon a lot. I don't know, like at that age I really held like the Ghostbusters like they were the dudes.
They
you know?
were the men, right? And okay, so also another tough one. Your favorite music artist, if you
Favorite
had to
music
pick
artist.
one.
Just since this is a local show, I'll go ahead and
Okay.
say what a lot of people think I'm gonna say. I really like the band, the Mars Volta and the At the
Nice.
Drive-In guys. Like I really like that like kind of prog style. They are like my favorite as far as like my teen years and when I wanted to get into rock music. I mean, you can blow an afro back. They just like blew my face off the first time I saw them. I was like, whoa, that's how you can like get outside the box and have like, you know, some play with like
Yeah.
the music. But I mean, honestly, if I had to choose a favorite currently right now, I would say either Kendrick Lamar or Anderson .Paak, just because I
Okay.
like that they're trying to have a voice outside of just the clubbing lifestyle and, you know, a really vapid existence. They're trying to like make waves in their community and
Yeah.
instill, you know, good values in, you know, black youth and just,
yeah.
you know, minority youth. So I think that's really cool when you're in such a
Yeah.
big position, you know.
When you see so much of what Instagram and social media has become, it's nice to see people
Yeah.
doing things, people with substance.
Yeah, I mean, because
agree.
like, you know, I only need to see Kim Kardashian's rear so many
Yeah.
times, you know, and it's like,
I mean, but
that'll sell her
are
a
you
million
sure,
records one day, and
though?
it'll probably
I mean,
sound terrible, but
I'd say a lot of people are not sick of it yet.
right,
sadly.
But you know what I mean, you know, like.
But no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. And that brings me to the last of our favorite four favorite questions. Your favorite band story or your favorite fan story?
I would say a fan story that I think is really cool is one time somebody that saw us play, and she'd come up to a few shows, and she told me that she started playing guitar, and she told me that my music was the reason that she wanted to play guitar. And I was just like, that's really cool, you know, like that's better than money. That shows that like what you're doing is like rubbing somebody in a way that's like, you know, they want to get into music and like, you know, explore artistically, you know, like that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, music is a universal language.
It really
so,
is.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Music
thank
is the weapon, is what they say.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
We
for
will be
having me.
right back with more Behind the Spotlight. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Behind the Spotlight. It has been a pleasure having you guys on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Various Blonde here from Kansas City. You can see him perform pretty much anywhere, though, right?
Yeah, we play a lot around town, Record Bar, Riot Room, the prime spots, you know.
all the best places. And also,
Yeah.
where can we find your music?
You can find it on iTunes, Spotify. I'd look us up on variousblonde.com, and you'll be able to see our videos. It'll take you to our YouTube channel, the whole bit.
Yeah, and make sure to check you out on Facebook,
Oh yeah, follow us on
And-
Facebook, like us on Facebook. We're on Twitter.
Twitter,
Right.
Instagram. Good for you.
The website has all the links, like
Perfect.
laid out
Check
for
out
you.
variousblonde.com. We got it. And lucky for you, we have one more song from these guys, and it is called,
Up All Night.
and this is also from your newest album.
Yep.
All bases covered. Okay. Various Blonde.
She was like, spare me the details. I won't and cocktails. 'Cause I'm just living for the city. I'm just on that spice of life. I need someone who will rock with me tonight and love me in the morning. We're up all night, claiming we ain't about that life. Shape-shifting in the wind, shape-shifting in the wind, shape-shifting. We're up all night, chasing dreams in the dying light. All night, all night, all night, all night. If all's well that ends well, we could. 86, the fairy tale. If she's chilling, I'm willing. If the feelings were given, I need someone who will rock with me tonight. Love me in the morning.